Hey fam, welcome back to another episode of Talk That Talk. My name is Lynn and I am the host and creator of Talk That Talk. So I am elated to be introducing this guest. She is, first of all, a phenomenal soul. She is an amazing artist, a person with so much wisdom and knowledge and who shares it freely. So of course I'm speaking of none other than the one who sings, Sings-Zolani Mahola. Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm just focusing on Zolani.
Johnny?
So I want to actually, this morning when we spoke, and I told you the frequently asked questions on Google.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
I found it was quite surprising, when you told me that the frequently asked questions by the general populace are like, what age did you say? How old I am?
Do you have kids? Are you married? In a little box.
It's really interesting. It's interesting on a couple of levels, particularly when you told me that, one of our counterparts on this production, Jit's Finger, as a man, he hasn't gotten any of those questions. Are they more like kind of professional?
Yeah, it's all to do with his career. Like where does the name come from, or where does he come from? It's always his location, but that I think is also probably more the POC thing, where it's the strangest thing to me, and I don't think I can ever fathom why we are seen or almost marketed as exotic in our own country, where it's like, wow, where are you from? You're like, no babes, where are you from? I'm from here. Like, this is melanin.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you think it's something to do with the fact that maybe we shine in our particular contexts, and then they're like, ja, waar vandaan kom jy?
Maar
like, where could you?
Wat skool het jy toe gegaan?
Yeah, like you're some special breed.
Yeah, jy was op by Stellenberg. Ag ja, okay, now everything makes sense now. She went to Model C school. Everybody, God, we thought you might have just flourished from the Cape Flats or from the township, like.
Interesting. Yeah.
Almost had a moral panic attack here.
It's a very good point that you bring up. Yeah, I've had that question. Yeah. Always, yeah.
I actually was listening to this morning when I asked you if you can have this interview. And when the film crew asked you or told you, yeah, we're going to ask you things about what is it like being a black and what is it like being a woman. And then I felt like I needed to just look at my questions and what am I asking you. And
I want to tell you something. Sorry, she wasn't actually talking about.
Oh, okay.
She was talking about an exhibition that she had just seen at the Novel.
Okay.
Of this non-binary. Black. What is she? I guess she's a filmmaker, and she had put on this exhibition of herself exploring herself in these different, or themselves. Themselves in these different scenarios. What it is to be black, what it is to be queer, what it is to be So just to put you in the frame.
Okay. But even so, I was like, is that maybe just like a go-to? Oh, okay. You're black, what is that like? And more so, why do I think that I need to ask those sorts of questions? And I felt like what I would rather ask is, has that aspect, has that sort of shaped your frame of reference going into the industry? Not what it is like to be black, but have people treated you differently, also because of the way that you present yourself? Even this week, I was speaking about gender with the people that I'm living with, and I also told them I am, I identify as non-binary, but I present
very femme, very femme, right?
And then it's like, oh yes, but you're obviously a woman, right? And I'm like, that's debatable. Sometimes I'm either. Sometimes I'm in the middle. Sometimes I'm nothing. I say that I don't want my accomplishments to be the first woman to do this. Can I just be me? I'm doing it.
Yes.
And not that there's a label before that. Where the first colored woman to make a podcast in South Africa.
Yeah.
Me.
I mean those are quite old standards, Hey, those categories.
100%.
Yeah, and they are imprisoning actually. I see. All right, so you're jumping out the boxes.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I like.
The thing is also, I think we need to also ask, who do these boxes serve? Who benefits from me being this way? And then, am I not also telling myself that that's who you should be, and then telling the next person, because I'm not questioning any of my realities. I'm just saying, okay, cool, this is what I'm supposed to be, because it's comfortable. I know I can contextualize. This is green, but I don't have to think that this might be yellow. There could be an entirely different color that has not been defined as this one between yellow and green.
I think this is the gift of your time. That the sense of really choosing who you are and choosing who you show up as in the world, and knowing that in a very deep way. That I think is quite different from when I was coming up. I think when I was coming up, there's very few people who would really play outside of the lines and kind of create their own realities. Whereas I think that now it's much more prevalent for people to take up their own space, and I think that's flippin' amazing.
Yeah,
it's really amazing.
It's very freeing, but also it's weird sometimes to live in a world where if I only spend time with people of my age, I think that the world is my oyster and I have absolutely no limitations. And then I move outside of my own frame of reference, and then I realize that somebody can, at the drop of the hat, slap bang me back to 1980 and be like, oh, okay, so we're about 40 years back. But
yeah, that's true.
And just
And how do you feel? Sorry, I'm turning the tables over here. How do you feel about that? I mean, do you feel like there is a burden of responsibility that you're fighting against to educate the old generation?
Really? Yes.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that? Do you feel it as a burden, or do you feel it as like, let me enlighten you, or what they do, or is it at different points feel like different?
Yeah, there's a lot of feelings. Sometimes I feel like I need to be on guard in certain spaces, especially white spaces or spaces that are overpopulated or majority white people. Then I feel like, okay, fuck. Just remember, I just need to recite a mantra and just tell myself, okay, you are a queen, you are worthy, you are allowed to take up space. And I need to remind myself, because it's, just take Stellenbosch, for example.
Yes.
I studied at Stellenbosch University, my undergrad. And if I go back, there's this sense of, fuck, okay, you are now an adult. You're not that student anymore.
Yes.
Who needed to diminish themselves.
Yes.
And kind of you didn't, that erasure of your colored Afrikaans,
yes.
coming into this white Afrikaans. Yes. You can say ik now. It's fine. You're allowed to do that. And I have to actively work on doing that. So I feel like when I'm educating other people or enlightening them, I'm doing double work. And then when they resist, because it's so personal to me, it feels like a personal resistance, and then ego needs to fly out of the window.
Then ego needs to fly out the window.
Yeah.
Your ego.
Mine. 100%.
And then what?
And
continue.
Yes, actually yesterday, there was sort of this moment for me where I realized, okay, if I engage
in a certain way, you know, this is not specifically with white people, and I was speaking to white women, I engage with them in certain topics that are not spoken about in, you know, general white circles.
Yes.
I'm not gonna get, there's no space for enlightenment. So I can't just be like, white feminism, what's that? It's fucked up, right? You know.
What would happen if I mean, are you saying this from experience?
Yes.
You are.
Not specifically what.
Thank you so much to my wonderful guest for the conversation. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode as much as we have. If you have enjoyed it as much as we have, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you would like to see more of this content.